This is not going to be my usual favorites video. Hi everybody. So when I was originally planning out my schedule for the end of the year, doing all of my filming before I took my break, which is why you'll probably have seen this sweater in a couple of other videos, my original thought was to talk about all of the things I got this year that are my favorites. But like, I do favorites videos, not all the time, but I do them on a relatively regular basis, and I have a playlist and you can watch those. And if I was doing a list of things, 99.9% of what would be on my list would be in one of those videos, so it felt kind of redundant. Also, I can't say if there is anything besides the Pentel Clenna that has been like outstanding for 2020, like Holy Grail pen, the way that makeup people talk about Holy Grail makeup. And I've only been using that pen for a few months, so I might tire of it anyway. I'm like still in the throes of like young pen love. So instead what I want to do is talk about 6 things that made my 2020 better that are not items. They might be music or social media type things or videos. And then there's one honorable mention that actually does involve some consumerism. Now, some of these are on streaming services, but like the streaming service is the consumerism part. I want to talk about some things that made my 2020 better. And the honorable mention is Animal Crossing. To buy a Switch, you have to buy the game for the new Animal Crossing New Horizons, but like, I haven't made any secret of the fact that I have been playing that game since, not when it came out, my kids got it when it came out because they've both been obsessed with Animal Crossing for years, especially my oldest. But then I saw how much fun they were having, and people on Facebook were talking about how much fun they were having, and so on Rex Manning Day, I picked it up. So I was a little behind, but like, let's just say that I spent quite a bit of time, especially when I was recovering from surgery, playing Animal Crossing. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me because it made me feel productive while I was resting my body. Normally when I am super in pain or super sick, and as somebody with chronic kidney disease who is hit into end-stage renal disease, I am terrible when it comes to taking care of my body because I feel like I need to be doing something. Animal Crossing solved that for me. It gave me something that made me feel productive when I was sitting down with my feet up and I was resting. When I had gout, when I was recovering from fistula surgery, when my kidney function dipped super low for a little while there and we thought dialysis might actually be happening really quickly, which thankfully it came up a little bit, so that helped me avoid it. But like, I was feeling nauseated and I just needed to not be doing anything. Playing Animal Crossing, which is such a mundane, like decorate your island, do your daily chores kind of situation, that I felt like I was productive, and I will always be grateful for that. I don't play it anywhere near as much. I do just pop on for my chores every day, but I also know that should I have a day where I really need to be off my feet, I can jump into there and redecorate my island and feel like I got something done for the day. And that is phenomenal for a chronic pain and illness patient like me. Now, this next thing actually is Animal Crossing related because it was kind of how I got there in the first place. That's Reddit. I have fallen down the Reddit rabbit hole this year. It started looking at the Animal Crossing Reddits, then I started looking at the World of Warcraft Reddits, I started looking at the Wheel of Time Reddits, which is a book series that I love, and it's going to be a TV show coming out in another year or so, so there's a lot of, good times on there. And then I found the snarky Reddits, like Blog Snark, and Hobby Snark, and Beauty Guru Chatter, like the ones where they talk about people on social media. And as somebody who is on social media as part of my job, I find that fascinating. I like looking at that to really start seeing like the things that annoy people or the things that kind of irk people. Hobby Drama and Blog Snark are both great because I actually have no idea who 99.9% of the people on Blog Snark are, and Hobby Drama is about hobbies that you have no interest in but read about the drama. And so both of these, it was like I was able to fill my need to read drama without knowing anybody involved. What I struggle with drama is when people I know are being talked shit about, and I know people in like the planner world, so I don't want to see planner drama because I don't want to know if there's shit going on. I don't want to know about it. Like, I want to know about people who I don't give a shit about, people I've never heard of before. I will say that my goal this year is to be on Reddit less, because I find myself falling down the snarky rabbit hole and then getting extra snarky myself and then seeing it come out in different parts of my day, and I don't like that. So I am going to try and tamp it back. But this I can compare a lot to a couple years ago when I was super into vegan YouTube drama. I'm not a vegan, and vegan YouTube drama is between vegans. Like, they're about who's the veganist. I have no issues with the vegan lifestyle, but like the vegan YouTube drama was hilarious as somebody who has no idea who any of these people are. It's like my version of reality TV. So if you've ever watched like Big Brother or Survivor and you're judging me right now, check it. Now, while I was finding my vegan YouTube drama rabbit hole kind of fix on Reddit, on YouTube, somehow this year, relatively early this year, and it has continued throughout the year, I started getting suggested videos about ballerinas, like how they customize their point shoes, the kinds of exercises they do in a day, what their days are like, what their diets are like, how they learn something, bits and pieces of different ballets. Like, ballet videos became my entire YouTube algorithm, and I couldn't look away, which is probably why they kept getting fed to me. But, like, I have never been a dancer. I was a mascot and a cheerleader in high school, but what I was doing was not fine classic dancing, let's just say. But, like, I could probably customize a point shoe for you right now after all the videos I've watched. They're fucking fascinating. They are so fascinating. And from there, I also fell down the rabbit hole of those videos talking about like people's morning, like random famous people's morning routines or their day as a Disney princess or whatever. And all those videos, those are fascinating, but I keep getting sucked back to the ballet world and I don't understand how it came in, but I'm grateful for it because it has made my year delightful, and Jessie has probably gotten so tired of hearing ballerinas pound their shoe on the wall. This next one is one that I don't think will be any surprise because I have talked a lot about it lately, but it's the You're Wrong About podcast. I have listened to so much of that podcast in the last like 6 or 8 months since I discovered it. Now, part of it's because I am not the same age as one of the hosts. There's two hosts, Michael Hobbs, who's a reporter for the Huffington Post, and Sarah Marshall, who is working on a book about the Satanic Panic. Michael Hobbs is 38, so we're in the same age range, and a lot of the stuff they talk about has to do with like things that you would hear in the 90s or in the 80s. They talked about Dare, which like blew my mind because Dare really fucked me up as a kid in terms of having parents who were pot smokers. I thought they were going to get arrested. Like talking about Stranger Danger. They did a phenomenal 5-part series on Princess Diana relatively recently. They have done 10 parts going on deep dives into different people having to do with the O.J. Simpson trial. And they're still not done with it yet. Talked hella mad shit on Nancy Grace. Like, it's a great podcast. My first episode I listened to of them was their Marie Antoinette podcast, and I hadn't learned anything new because I am a stan of Marie Antoinette, the person, not the legend. And not necessarily because I want to be her, but because I'm fascinated by her. But it was still a great episode, and it kind of hooked me in. They also both have their own spin-off podcasts, which I also enjoy, Maintenance Phase and Why Are Dads, but I love the original podcast the most. I really recommend it if you are into hearing how like panics, moral panics in our society are portrayed, where they come from, and what the reality of it is. I've had many of my assumptions about things challenged from listening to that podcast, and I really enjoy it. I have re-listened to several of their episodes. Like, that's how much I enjoy it. TV-wise, I actually finished a series this year. There have been shows I've watched, there have been shows I have watched bits and pieces of, but there was one show that was exactly what I needed this summer when I was feeling so awful. And both Jesse and RJ kind of caught me watching it, and they got sucked into it as well. And that's The Good Place. When the 4th season was released, it was right around when the 4th season was released, when it was released on Netflix. People were talking about it, or maybe it was Hulu, wherever it was released. When the 4th season became available through streaming, people were talking about watching it, and so I started watching it. And it's one of those shows where the episodes are short, and there's not very many episodes a season, and there's only 4 seasons. So it didn't take very long to get through, but holy shit. It was clever, it was touching, it was funny, like the cast was outstanding. It was just great on so many different levels, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Kind of want to watch it through again. It was one of those, I'm going to use the word delightful again, because that's what it was. It was delightful. During a summer when I was feeling the worst I've ever felt in my life, to that point, I feel worse now, let's just say. But to that point, I was feeling the worst I'd ever felt in my life. I had cabin fever. I was stressed out about everything that was going on in the world. And I had been cooped up with my family for so long that having that show, watching that show, it it just made my summer better in a year where that summer was very shitty. And I am grateful for it. So grateful for it. So much so that RJ and I are on a quest to convince Jesse and Kat that when we finally do get a dog this year sometime, we should name the dog not a girl, Janet. So if The Good Place was completely new to me and kind of surprised me and became delightful, there was some music this year that I had kind of written off as something I didn't like that made a resurgence, and now I cannot stop listening to it. And that is Muse's latest album, and it's not latest, it came out a couple years ago, Simulation Theory. So when it came out, it's very 80s feeling, very kind of Tron feely. And it just, I love Muse. I have loved Muse for years and years and years. I recognize that they are so experimental that their albums tend to have different feels to them. And there have been times with Muse where like a song won't hit for me right away, but it will get me later in time. Like I'll have to listen to it a few more times to really figure it out. Madness was one of those songs. Simulation Theory was the first time the whole album really wasn't doing it for me. I was just struggling with it. And maybe it was because I hadn't listened to the whole album because I couldn't get through certain songs on it, but I was struggling. And then, what was I watching? I think I was on YouTube, because that's what I do. I had somehow gotten into the algorithm where they were recommending me videos of people, like rap fans who had not listened to rock, like certain rock bands before, listening to rock bands for the first time and reacting to them on YouTube. And I was watching one where this guy had never heard Muse before, and he had been recommended the live from Rome Olympic Stadium version of Knights of Sidonia. If you've never seen the Rome live at Olympic Stadium Muse like tour movie, it's so good. It is so good to the point where like I've seen Muse twice, and that's like my go-to when I'm really craving the feeling of seeing them live because they are so good. It's awesome. And Knights of Sidonia is amazing in that live show. So his reaction to it was like huge, and he was so excited by it. And then somebody recommended to him that he see Pressure, which was the only song that I had really been okay with from the album, but not the actual version from the album, but the one from later in the album that has a marching band. Jesse and the kids were super into it the last time there was a marching band season, so over a year ago. But the video of it's this like prom, and there's these like evil creatures, and they're fighting, and Terry Crews is in it, and people are getting torn apart, and Muse is up there playing like they're on fucking Back to the Future, and it's a rad video. And then I was like, and the song's great too. And then I found out that kind of like with Daft Punk sometimes, where they have like an entire storyscape through several videos in a row, Muse had done that with like 6 videos from Simulation Theory. And so I started watching them and then started getting into the album. And now the album is on like my high rotation. All of the songs of it, all the versions of the songs of it, fucking love it. And so if you at all have like that 80s vibe that you like, that like synthesizer situation, Tron, fucking, just, oh, it's good. It's so good. And I love Muse. That's not my favorite Muse album, but it's currently my top played Muse album. And if you don't like Muse, you've probably tuned out the entire last 5 minutes. But if you don't like Muse, why not? There is one more thing that made my life so delightful. And it's been going on for the past like 4 months. And it's not actually happening right now because I'm filming. And that is living the no mascara lifestyle. Now, you might say, Cindy, why don't you just live the no makeup lifestyle? One of the... I feel like I've talked about kidney disease so much in these videos, but that's the fucking reality of my life, man. And one of the realities of kidney disease, especially late stage kidney disease, is you start to look kind of sallow, like yellowish and kind of gross. You look unwell. I've always had dark circles. My circles are so bad now. They're so dark and like they stand out and you can't see because I'm wearing makeup on them right now. But like if I'm not wearing makeup and I walk by a mirror, I get taken aback by how ill I look. It makes me look like I'm dying because in some ways I am. I say some ways because like things like dialysis and transplant can keep me alive. But if there wasn't those things, if it was the zombie apocalypse, I wouldn't be much more for the world. So I've taken to wearing even just a tiny bit of makeup, just enough to bring some life back to my face. But in the past, if I was only wearing a tiny bit of makeup, one of those items would be mascara because I wear glasses and I have long eyelashes, but they are very pale. Mascara just brings some life to my eyes. But I've also had really bad allergies this year. Really, really bad allergies this year. The fire season didn't help. The windiness didn't help. My eyes would water from the allergies, and I finally said, you know what? Fuck it. Unless I'm filming, I'm just not going to wear mascara. And I don't film my face often enough to wear mascara very often. I will still put a little stuff around my eyes. I will still put stuff on my face, but I won't wear mascara. And it took a little bit of getting used to because it felt like I looked so tired. But once I finally got the hang of it, I kind of love it. So I do wear it for videos because my eyes disappear if I don't wear it. I have given up on mascara almost entirely otherwise. Now I do take a bit of like dark brown eyeshadow and kind of smudge it into my lash line to darken it up a little bit to help me look awake, but that's the closest I do. As a bonus, it is so much easier to take your eye makeup off at night when you don't have mascara on. It's so much easier. So yeah, the no mascara lifestyle. I'm living it. And those are the things that made my 2021 a little bit brighter. My favorite non-consumery, except for when they're consumery things. I don't even know how to like think about this video, but you know, it's not about the stuff this year for me. It was about the things that made me smile. And sometimes it was stuff, but more often than that, it was the creativity and the funniness and the beauty and the epicness of the stuff people put out into the world. Whether it's podcasts or videos or snarkiness on Reddit or music, those things just made this year better for me. And I am so grateful because this has been such a hard year. So I would love to hear from you in the comments. What is something that made your year a little bit better? Is it music, podcast, videos, snarkiness, or is it something you bought? There's no shame in that. Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, thank you so much. I'll see you soon. Stay safe, subscribe, and until next time, which I just said, because it's been a long day. Peace.